Warning: the story told in this video contains graphic content that is sensitive and not suitable for children. Trigger warnings include death, child abuse, and sexual violence. Viewer discretion is advised. Hey guys, it's Brooke, and today I'm going to be giving you the basics of the Alissa Turney case, which I advocate for. If you know me, you know that this is something I care deeply about. If you follow me on social media, I'm sure you've seen me talk about it. I elaborated about it a little bit in my welcome video and even more in my welcome blog. Now, this is a very complex story. One could spend weeks discussing all of its ins and outs. And Alissa's sister, Sarah Turney, has a podcast called Voices for Justice, which does exactly that. I will be linking it in the description, obviously. I am definitely going to be doing a longer, more in-depth video about Alissa with Sarah in the future, but for right now, I just want to give the basics so that the word is out about what I'm talking about and what I'm fighting for. This is Alissa's story in shorthand form. Alissa Marie Strom was born on April 3rd, 1984 to her father Stephen Strom and her mother Barbara Farner Strom. Barbara had one other son named John who was from a previous relationship. Barbara's relationship with Stephen Strom did not last, and she began dating a man named Michael Roy Turney. They quickly got married. Michael had 3 sons from his previous marriage, Rhett, James, and Mike. Barbara, John, and Alissa moved in with him, and they had their combined family all in one place. Mike even adopted John and Alissa, and their last names were changed to Turney. In 1988, Mike and Barbara welcomed their only child together, a daughter named Sarah Turney. Family members recall Michael treating Alissa differently than the other kids. Young Alissa once asked why her daddy didn't love her. By the time Alissa started kindergarten, Mike was already saying that she was behind in learning. Alissa's pediatrician informed Barbara that she had scar tissue, indicating that she had been sexually abused. And soon after this, Barbara was diagnosed with cancer. She passed away in February of 1993, leaving Alissa under the care of Michael Roy Turney. And after Barbara died, Michael began dating Alissa's teacher. At the age of 9, Alissa confided in this woman, quote, "I'm having sex with my dad." There are phone transcripts of Mike telling this same woman that Alissa was someone who a man would one day have great sex with, and that she needed to be spayed when she was 9 years old. But these things were never reported, and after they separated, Mike never brought another woman home again. There's a home video that I'll link in the description that shows a young Sarah playing with the family video camera. Alissa calls for Sarah a few times, and when the camera's on her, she yells, "Sarah, Dad's a pervert." Michael calls Alissa a stupid moron and throws a shoe at her as he tells Sarah to turn the camera off hastily. Around the same time, Michael made Alissa's brother John sign a contract saying that he had never seen him sexually abuse her. When Alissa was middle school aged, their cousin David came to live with them. Mike admitted to David that he had once tied Alissa to a chair because she was out of control. She was at least 12 or 13 years old at this point. And Alissa told David that her dad had handcuffed her to her bed. David came home from work one night and put in a VHS tape that was on the family shelf that was marked Dr. Dolittle. But instead he found a home video in the Turney house that featured 2 girls laying on a sofa, half naked from the waist up, one of which he presumed to be Alissa, and the other her friend. They had their faces covered by newspaper, but it was very clear that Alissa was one of the girls. When David found this, he left and he never spoke to Mike again. Alissa and Sarah's uncle said that he was aware that this tape existed and that there was supposedly another tape of Alissa and Mike having sex with a grown woman. As Alissa got older, Mike had surveillance cameras set up around the house that were specifically there to spy on Alissa. Most notably ones that were hidden in the vents above the sofa and even in Alissa's bedroom. There was a passive recording system on the home phone that recorded all incoming and outgoing calls. Alissa had to write letters to her friends to communicate them without having Mike listening to every word. On the last day of Alissa's sophomore year of high school in the year 2000, Mike picked her up from school early, and they took a drive to the desert. Alissa's brother Rhett confirmed that Mike tried to sexually assault Alissa on this trip. The same day, he made her sign a contract saying she had never been abused. He called Child Protective Services and told them that if his daughter called and said she had been sexually abused, she was lying. Quote from Michael Turney, "All parents use manipulation and mind games on their children." Alissa said that she was bisexual, and Mike phoned the police and asked if it was illegal to be bisexual under the age of 18. He tried to sign Alissa's custody over to her brother and said that once it finalized, he was going to take Sarah and move to Mexico. This actually never happened, but that doesn't sound suspicious at all, right? Michael had Alissa on an individualized learning plan for a learning disability that she was never diagnosed with or even formally tested for. He insisted she was stupid, and because he had pitched such a fit to have her put on this IEP, she had to ride the short bus to school. He said that she was, quote, dumber than a rock, and had a mild form of retardation. He called her that word frequently. Constantly told her that she needed special accommodations because she was slow, even though all of her friends, her teachers, and her grades suggest that she was actually completely normal when it came to her education. There's footage of Mike filming Alissa through the window at her job at Jack in the Box. I will link that below. It is also on Sarah's YouTube. There is also footage of Alissa making out with a boy on their home couch. There was a second desert incident in which he tried to assault her, and this time he made her walk home. Mike also made a claim that Alissa had a very high sex drive and enjoyed engaging in these kinds of activities. Mike purchased 50 pounds of lime, as well as 60 pounds of concrete early in the year of 2001. He had 2 trucks that were identical to one another, but his family only knew about one of them. It kind of sounded like he was planning something, right? On May 17th, 2001, it was Alissa's last day of her junior year of high school. She got up and went to school. It was the last day of Sarah's 7th grade year, and she got up and went on a field trip to a water park. Sometime around 11 a.m., Alissa stuck her head into her boyfriend John's classroom and said that she was leaving, but that she would see him tonight at a party that a friend was having. And no one ever saw Alissa Turney ever again. Michael was late picking Sarah up from school and ended up picking her up from a friend's house around approximately 5 o'clock. When Sarah got in the truck, Mike was hysterical. He told her to begin calling Alissa because he couldn't get a hold of her and he thought that she was in trouble. When they arrived home, Sarah went in the house first, and she discovered the contents of Alissa's backpack scattered all over the floor in her room. Her cell phone was buzzing on the dresser next to a note. This note read, "Dad and Sarah, when you dropped me off at school today, I decided I really am going to California. Sarah, you said you didn't want me around. Look, you got it. I'm gone. Dad, I took $300 from you. Alissa." Michael once again freaked out. He called family members and told them she was missing and that he thought she was in grave danger. But that same night, he called the police and told them that he just wanted to inform them that she had gone to stay with her aunt in California, but he knew where she was. Alissa was put in the system as a runaway, and the way she was reported evoked no kind of formal search. Mike even told neighbors not to form a search party to look for her. About a week later, a phone call came to the house from a payphone in Riverside, California. Mike claims it was Alissa and that she cussed at him and told him to leave her alone, and then hung up. This was the last that anyone ever claimed to hear from Alissa Turney. Now, if you're paying attention, you might be thinking, if Michael Turney has surveillance cameras all over the home that are watching Alissa's every move, and he has a recording system on the home phone, don't those recordings hold the answer to what she did before she ran away? And don't they have the recording of the phone call when she called the house? No. Because apparently the recording system was not working that day, and the recorder on the home phone was off when she called from the payphone. And just like that, Alissa was gone. He took the $1,800 that she had in her bank account from working and gave it to Sarah very shortly after she disappeared. He got rid of all her pets. He did all of his own searches for her, claiming that the police weren't helping, even though he had never asked them for any help. In 2006, an inmate in Florida confessed to killing her after seeing her picture in a magazine. But it was quickly realized by investigators that this had not happened. But it was beneficial, however, because it got investigators to start looking at her case better. In 2008, Michael Turney went to prison, but not for anything that had anything to do with Alissa. Homemade bombs were seized from his house, which he wrote that he planned to use in a domestic terrorist attack against a local electrical union that he had worked for in the 1970s to get revenge for them killing Alissa. At this point, the police told Sarah that they believed that Mike had killed Alissa. Get this. They did not find out until Mike was in prison in 2008 or 2009 for the bomb charge that the day Alissa went missing in 2001, that Mike picked her up from school early that day. It claims that he took her out to eat and that they returned home, and along in that process they began fighting about what her plans were for the summer. He dropped her off at home to calm down and went out shopping, and then she was just gone. It took Sarah a little bit to be convinced that her dad would do such a thing, because the way he treated her and parented her was completely opposite from the way Alissa had been treated all these years. Eventually she was convinced. She was actually the last of the 5 siblings to realize that their dad had killed Alissa, so all of them are in agreement that this is what happened. After Mike got out of prison for the bomb charges, the police said that they were going to automatically rearrest him and charge him for killing Alissa. The day came and he was set free. The police told Sarah that her only chance of getting this prosecuted was to get media coverage, which literally sounds fake, but it's not. It's so ridiculous that I'm literally like, that doesn't even sound like a real thing that law enforcement would say, but they did. In fact, there's a recording of it, which you can hear in Sarah's podcast. She was to put pressure on the district attorney so that they would decide to prosecute Alissa's case. And Sarah has done an amazing job of doing this. There is still so much hope that with the right attention brought to Alissa's case, that he will be prosecuted for killing her, as the police believe that he did. But as of right now, Michael Turney is completely free. Just this year, he got taken off probation. Once again, this was totally the short version, just to give you the basics. I will be covering this more in depth. Sarah's podcast has so many more details. Please go listen to it. Today I'm putting up a blog about it as well that I will have linked in the description. I'll also be linking all of Sarah's and all of my own social media. I have my personal social media as well as my Twitter and Instagram that I run for Alissa. Please share this story with #JusticeForAlissa. Is the only chance of getting a resolution to this story. I'll see you here again next Wednesday. Bye guys.